I think we have to bear in mind that what the Fed did, and I was part of that group, is we front-loaded a tremendous market rally starting in 2009, in March of 2009. It's sort of what I call the reverse wimpy factor. Give me 2 hamburgers today for 1 tomorrow. And I'm not surprised that almost every single index you can look at, if you take away dividends in the S&P last year, unweighted was down significantly, and all the other indices were down. Basically, we had a tremendous rally, and I think there's a great digestive period that's likely to take place now, and it may continue because, again, we front-loaded at the Federal Reserve an enormous rally in order to accomplish a wealth effect. So I wouldn't be surprised at what's happening. I wouldn't blame it on China. We're always looking for excuses.
If you do see this as this big unwind from Fed policy, which fueled, what, a 6.5-year bull market, what does it look like on the way down?
Well, I was warning my colleagues, don't go wobbly if we have a 10 to 20% correction at some point. The market's still overpriced. Everybody you talk to all morning long, from Byron on, have been warning that these markets are heavily priced. And the values are very richly priced here. So I could see significant downside. I could also see just a flat market for quite some time, again, digesting that enormous return the Fed engineered for almost 6 years. Yes.
This is, Mr. Fisher, this has been an absolutely extraordinary interview. For you to come on here and for you to say I was one of the central bankers who engineered the front loading of the banks, we did it to create a wealth effect, and then to go on and tell us with a big smile on your face that we're overpriced, which was the word that you used in the market, that there would be some digestive problems. Are you guys going to take the rap if there is a serious correction in this market? Will you equally come on and say, I'm really sorry, we overinflated the market, which is a logical conclusion from what you've said so far in this interview?
Well, first of all, I wouldn't say that. I voted against QE3. But there was a reason for doing this. Let's be fair to the central bank. We had a horrible crisis. We had to pull it out. All of us unanimously supported that initiative under Ben Bernanke. But in my opinion, we went one step too far, which is QE3. By March of 2009, we had already bought $1 trillion in securities. And the market turned that first week in March. To me, personally, as a member of the FOMC, that was sufficient. We had launched the rocket. And yet we piled on with QE3, understandably worrying, the majority did at least, that we might slide backwards. So I think you have to be careful here and frank about what drove the markets. Look at all the interviews you had over the last many years since we started the QE program, quantitative easing, and it was the Fed, the Fed, the Fed, the European Central Bank, the Japanese Central Bank. What are the Chinese doing? All quantitatively driven by central bank activity. That's not the way markets should be working. They should be working on their own animal spirits, but they were juiced up by the central banks, including the Federal Reserve, even though some of us would not support QE3. So I think you have to acknowledge reality.
If low interest rates were just that simple of a panacea, we would never have recessions. We would never have these crises. We would never have these panics. And look, I'm not here to criticize the Fed, because the Fed did save us in '08, but then again, you could argue the Fed got us into it to begin with in '02 and '03 with very low interest rates. I mean, it's like giving somebody medicine, and this medicine is being given and given and given, and we don't know what's going to happen. You don't know how bad the end of this is going to be. You do know, though, that when you did it a few years ago, it caused a catastrophe. It caused '08. Where do you draw the line here?